What we're going to do today is some letter key rings, and I'm going to show you the best way to do these and a way of getting some beautiful key rings. Now, I get my molds, and this comes in one massive, great big mold, but I find that a bit of a pain in the bottom. So when I get a mold now like this, I cut them up into the individual letters. I find it easier to store like this and easier to use, because if I'm getting short of a particular letter, all I have to do then is pull out that letter. And they cut really easily. And it doesn't affect how they're going to cure. And also, if you damage one, like I've damaged this W, thankfully it was the W, because you can then use the M instead. I can just get rid of that. So I'm going to choose the letters I'm going to make, and then I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to make them and how to decorate them and get a great result. I want these to cure up quite quickly so I can get on with them. So what I'm going to be using is the J-Diction 4-hour demold. Now this is the thicker than normal resin, so you could mix some bubbles in it. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of the bubbles, but also it's a crystal clear resin, and it is a really good resin if you want to do quick things. It's ideal for putting glitter in. Because it's thicker, the glitter stays a little bit more suspended. And I also use microfine glitter as well, or ultra fine glitter. So I've mixed all my resin up now, really thick resin, and there were a few bubbles in it, and I've had it in my Airless Pro for 5 minutes, and it's virtually clear of bubbles now. What I'm going to do is distribute this into my little pots, because I actually don't want too much resin in here at this stage, because I don't want these to be massively thick. And I'm going to put my glitter in and give that a bit of a mix round. And now I'm going to put some in. I only really want this glitter cover about 2 mil of the bottom of each mold. 2 or 3 mil. So not very thick at all. Like that. Put a lid on that glitter before I knock it over. So I'm going to carry on with the rest of my glitters in exactly the same way. So we've got those poured now. All I'm going to do is quickly pop over those with a long neck lighter, burst any bubbles that are coming up to the top, and then leave those to cure. They won't take long to cure because I've used the quick cure resin. Well, these have all cured now, so I'm going to take them out the mold, and then I can show you what I mean by how thin I made them. And the reason I'm taking them out the mold is because they're in mirror. They're mirrored when they're in the mold. So as you can see, when they're in the mold, that's the shape. An S doesn't look like that, but it does look like that. When I first look at that, I always think, oh no, the A's not worked. But it's not an A, it's a V. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these in washi tape. All different types of washi tape. Now, I find washi tape, I love it, and it sticks on card really well. But when you put it on to resin, it doesn't stay on resin very well unless you're going to coat it, and then it can't lift up. Now, I want to prevent that from happening. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a thin layer of my gilding glue over the top of this like this, and let that dry, and that will give me a really good stick with the washi tape. I don't have to worry then about it lifting or bubbling or anything like that. I'll let that dry. It won't take long, about 15 minutes, and we know when it's dry because it goes clear. If you haven't got any of this in your craft room or your resin room, I recommend getting some. It's so useful for I use it so often. You've seen me use it so often, I'm sure, if you've watched a lot of my videos. I use it for glitter. I use it for dusting. Washi tape, anything, because it stays sticky once it's dry. So they're nice and dry now. And from now on, I'm going to be working on a cutting board, because I'm going to have to do some cutting in a minute. And I don't want to cut my silicone mat, because I've done that loads of times. Now, if you don't have any washi paper, but you do have wrapping paper, I've got a little scrap of wrapping paper here because I collect it all, then you can use wrapping paper. It works really, really well. So all you need to do is push that on there like that, go over lightly with your thumb or a finger to ensure that that's pushed down, okay, and leave that for a few minutes to bond on there. But as I said, I'm going to be using different washi tapes as well. If I can find the end. Anyone else have the problem with finding their end? Oh, there's my end. Now, this has got a slight sticky on it anyway. So what I'm going to do is put that on there like that. Cut a bit off. Try and match my pattern as best as possible. Cross there. And take that off there. And again, just rub over that with my finger or your thumb, ready for the next stage. So I'm going to continue doing these ones in the same way, using my different washi tapes that I've chosen, and then I'll show you what to do next. So once you've covered them all, the next thing to do is to cut them out. And make sure that you've got a brand new blade in whatever you're using to cut them out. And all I do is I work around the piece that I'm going to cut out, putting pressure down on it as well so that it isn't likely to rip. And I do this fairly slowly, but it makes a massive difference having a brand new blade in the thing. This is the one with the wrapping paper on. So as you can see, that's covered that ever so well. And you can get some really pretty wrapping papers, especially at birthdays and celebrations and Christmas. You can keep the ones that you like for crafting. That's what I do. So now we've got the M, and I do exactly the same thing with the ones with the washi tape on. Make sure that they're all down and then just cut around them. Then we can seal this in, and I'll show you the easiest and the best method to seal this in. So now it's time to dome them up, and what I'm going to be using is the high viscosity UV resin by J Diction to dome these. And the reason is the high viscosity really is lovely and thick, and as long as you don't overdo it, it's going to stay where you put it because it's quite viscous. And I cannot say how much this transforms these items once they're domed up. All you need to do is put a little bit of pressure, tiny bit of pressure on the bottle, and use the tip of the bottle to actually go around and finish doming them and get it right to the edge. The other thing is this washi tape, it will absorb some of this resin as well, so it's not going to come off, and you will find it's going to be on here permanently. And then if you think it can take a little bit more dome, just pop a little tiny dribble wherever you want that extra dome to be. Make sure that you've got it all the way around all the edges. I have. Look at that. That has transformed that one already. And then leave it for a couple of minutes before you cure it up, because what you want to do is make sure that you've got no air bubbles in it, and that gives it time to get any air bubbles up to the top, and then you can burn them off with a long neck lighter, the same as you would with an epoxy resin. Now if you haven't got this, you can use an epoxy resin to dome this. I would suggest using a thickish resin for doming. Something like the TX Pure Glossy or the 4-hour D-mold would be ideal. So I'm going to go over them now quickly with a long neck lighter. Just burn off any bubbles that may have come up. Double check that nothing has pulled away from the edges, which it has on this one. I haven't got quite enough resin there. And that should do. And now I can cure these up for 3 minutes. And now they're cured up, we can turn them into key rings. Now all we need to do is drill a hole in the top of these, wherever you want them to hang from. Now you can use a hand drill like this. It does take a little bit more time to do it because UV resin actually cures really hard. Now I can't be bothered to wait and do all those individually, so I'm going to use my Dremel to do it with. But if you haven't got a Dremel, then obviously you can use that. Now whenever you're drilling resin, always make sure you wear a mask, because you don't want to be breathing this in, and I always have a mask on. Look, I don't know if you can see me. Hello, I got a mask on. And then make sure you clean up your dust as well. And I use a damp baby cloth for this, or baby wipe, because then it will stick to that and it's not going to get back in the air. And then I can use one of these to give the final thing a bit of a wipe down as well. Well, they're all drilled now through, and all I need to do is pop a jump ring through them. These ones are really strong old jump rings, and you need strong old jump rings as well when you're doing this. That you want to make sure that it's not going to open up when people are using them. And there we go, we've got the D, and I've put a little tassel on it as well because I like the way that the tassels finish them off. But look at that, look how pretty that is. So there we go, they're all finished now. I think they've come out really, really well. I love the way that they come out. So simple, but yet really effective. Obviously, S for Steve is my favourite one. Look how lovely and domed, and look how lovely and shiny that is as well. It's come up really well. Same with the C. It's so simple to do, yet they're very, very popular. Having a few of these around on your stall if you're at a fair, and people will pick these up really quickly because they relate to them and their name, or they make great gifts as well for Christmas and birthdays and things like that, and any celebration. Be sure to check out the video I've got coming up next if you want to learn more about how to make UV resin jewelry as a beginner. It is a great video, and if you're looking to start selling your jewelry, then this is the one to watch. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.